Hello and welcome. Hello, welcome to the Roosta Show. Zeus Jones, how you doing? Pleasure to have all you here. More walk, less talk, always here on the Roosta Show. So today we have James from Kiss is Kill, industrial project from. Hello, how you doing from California? How
Hey,
you
buddy,
doing,
how are
man?
you? I'm
I'm
doing good,
feeling.
man. Nice to finally meet you face to face.
Hell yeah, man. Well, welcome.
Love the background there.
Appreciate. Oh, thank you, man. I worked on it. Several different
Yeah,
layers there.
that's great.
Salute to you. Having my
Hey,
morning
thanks.
espresso.
Yeah,
Oh, you
same here. Well, it's my afternoon, but it's basically my morning because I was up all night working. So just recovering now.
do stuff in the works, huh?
Actually, no, I do the music for Paw Patrol, the cartoon series.
Oh,
So,
no
and
way.
a bunch of other animated shows and stuff like that. So I have crazy due dates that are like stuff tends to be due like the next day, and it's just that's sort of my life. So Kisses Kill is kind of what I do on the side to kind of balance out the animation stuff.
Oh, Paw Patrol, man. I totally know
Yeah.
Paw Patrol, man. Oh,
The
that's
funny
so
thing
cool.
is, even if people don't have kids, like they still know Paw Patrol. So I love that. Like it's sort of permeated pop culture and stuff. So
It
it's a
is. Yeah, I mean, exactly.
fun
My
gig.
son, my son's 24. So I mean, yeah, I mean, we don't watch that type of stuff, but that's
No,
cool, man. I
but he
see
probably
everywhere.
watched another show I did. He
See
probably
it
watched
everywhere.
another show I did called Total Drama Island. That was he probably
Hey,
watched it about 10 years ago or whatever when he was 14 or whatever.
yeah, it was on
So
Nickelodeon, wasn't it?
that one was Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network. Okay, but
Yeah,
yes, I do remember that. That was a
I
crazy
got
ass show.
all the age groups, man. I got them all covered, man. Like,
Uh,
anyways.
well, that's
So,
awesome.
hey,
Well, welcome.
my question to you is this the official interview now, or do you want to do a start thing, or like, how does it work?
This is it. This is it.
All right,
We're doing it.
awesome, great.
Just
I'm
letting people
right
know
in
who
then.
you are. This is a
Yeah,
very relaxed, casual,
I love
nice
it, dude.
conversation packed with info.
My style, bro.
Yes, sir. Okay, so let's talk about Kiss is Kill. Tell me how that
Yeah.
was created. I know your first album was done in 2014. You have a new one called Anatomy of Fear, which is bitchin'.
Hey,
And
thanks, man.
I've actually got it in the background right now. And so it's wonderful. Great job on it. It sounds
Nice,
to
man.
me that there has been some growing up from the first album to the second album. That it sounds a lot more complete and more rich and um, more angst. In fact, also as well. So let's let you have the floor for a little bit. Tell about us how it started and what sparked all this, and then yeah, tell us your mind.
Absolutely. So as I was mentioning, I do the music for Paw Patrol and a bunch of other shows like Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood and a bunch of other animation stuff, and that's my full-time job, and it's a great job. It's a great gig. I can't complain. Being a full-time working composer in the entertainment industry is a gift, right?
Yeah,
But the
it's
thing
blessing.
is, I'm always working for someone else's vision, right? Which is part of the gig, right?
Yeah,
And that's fine. But at the end of the day, there's a void there of sort of a personal, like, when am I going to do stuff for me, And so Kisses Kill was sort of born out of that desire to kind of just be able to make music for myself. Obviously, I was raised on all the 90s industrial and grunge and alternative music and all that kind of stuff. So probably my biggest influences are Nine Inch Nails, which is pretty obvious in the music, and like Tool as well is another big example. But I also listen to a ton of other industrial, like, deeper cuts like Cubanate and C-Tech and, Trust and like all these other bands in the scene and stuff like that, Crying
yeah,
Vessel and all this. So I'm inspired by a lot of the industrial scene as well. And as you can see, I have a pretty good collection of
pretty
synthesizers
badass.
and stuff. You can't see, there's a bunch over here too. You can't see. And so I was mainly a keyboard, like a synthesizer guy growing up, and so was attracted to industrial music because everybody else in the 90s was playing guitar, right? And
Yeah,
doing the Nirvana thing. And Nine Inch Nails was like one of the few bands that had like a keyboard and was like cool, you know?
Oh yeah, they
So
were.
so there's always been that itch I've wanted to scratch. And so I started the project. Yeah, the first album came out in 2014, and it's mainly sort of, this career that I have helps facilitate me being able to just have complete artistic freedom. I'm not on a label. I'm not worried about touring. I'm not worried about selling merch. I'm just able to just make the art that I want to make, which is also a gift, right?
Okay, so
Um,
that's something else. That you're
yeah.
more of an
So
artist that likes to put out music than necessarily to perform. You're more
yeah,
about just
and don't get me
putting out
wrong.
some good ass music.
I would love to perform. I would love to play this stuff
Gotcha.
live. Like, don't get me wrong, but as any musician knows, like it's so difficult to put together a great live show. I mean, it just takes a lot of effort. It takes other people. It takes rehearsal time, preparation, all that stuff. And it's just very difficult for me to find that.
Lots of
Yeah,
money.
and bread. Yeah, yeah, totally, right? And in my dreams, I would love to play live. I think I could really have an awesome live show, but that's just we'll see what the future holds, right? But so I put out the first album in 2014, and it had a pretty good response actually. I was kind of surprised. Um, but what I appreciate that I heard from you today is you noticed sort of the difference between the first album and the second album. And I think, there's a couple of factors there. I think as musicians, or sorry, the best musicians and producers, I think, are always trying to better themselves, right? And so that was really my goal over the last 10 years is I just wanted to get better and just hone my craft. And so I'm glad that you noticed that, because I can't even listen to the first album now compared to this latest one.
Yeah.
Um, and but another thing happened in there too in that 10 years, which is I really honed my skills, my songwriting skills and my production skills working on Paw Patrol and Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. That 10 years of songwriting, constantly producing things very quickly that need to be
Yeah.
high quality, it actually gave me the skills, I think, to write better songs. Like the funny thing is when you're writing music for children's animation, the choruses need to be like really simple and hooky and catchy.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I know it sounds weird, but there's a ton of that, I think, in Kisses Kill. With I always try to have a big chorus that's really kind of simple and catchy. And so yeah, it's just interesting that I picked up a bunch of these songwriting skills just from writing children's music,
That's
which
all.
is just
So
totally the opposite of this style of music, right? It's like two
yeah,
totally different worlds.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
anyways, that's a bit of the history, and I really appreciate that you noticed the difference between
Oh yeah.
the two albums. Thanks for that compliment, man. I appreciate that.
So definitely. So have you ever had anybody else join you in this project?
So there have been some co-collaborators over the years. Uh, One of my biggest musical idols is Phil Berry from Cubanate, and he also has a solo project called Be My Enemy. And actually, when I first heard
Okay.
Be My Enemy, that was the moment I thought, oh, I want to make an album. So he was a big influence, and I actually somehow we connected on Facebook, and I asked him to play on one of the songs. So he collaborated with me on one of the songs. And Cubanate is actually one of my biggest, most favorite bands in the world as well. So that was really a thrill. And then years ago, I was in a band called Triptaka, and we actually collaborated with another band called Victory Pill, and they have some former Prodigy members. And one of the fellas in that band is named
It's
Pete
those guys
Crossman.
actually, I
Yeah,
miss Prodigy, man. They were good.
I I know. Well, they actually put out a new album like just a couple of years back. That's a banger. You should check it out. It's actually
Yeah,
I
yeah.
shouldn't
You
be
should send me the
surprised, but
link
I was
later, man.
surprised. Yeah, yeah, totally.
Hey, Sheep on
Um,
Drugs is still doing stuff too.
yeah,
Remember Sheep on
nice.
Drugs?
Yeah, oh yeah. You know what? All these old
Yeah,
timers are still
Lee, man,
like
he's
kicking
putting
ass,
out
right?
some new
Like,
stuff. Yeah, I
yeah,
did an
nice,
interview with him actually.
nice.
So yeah, he was a good guy.
So
Okay, go
so
ahead.
my pal Pete Crossman, who's like also one of my biggest influences, like he's a dear friend of mine, but he's
Yeah,
also so talented that I feel like I learned things from him, you know?
Yeah.
He's a big inspiration. He co-produced a couple tracks on this new album and on the previous album, and he does all my artwork as well. So
Oh, yeah,
he's a
that
king.
was going to ask
And
about
then
that.
on this album too, I was able to collaborate with Sebastian Comer from Icon of Coil and Comer
Love
Commando,
that.
and yeah, he's like he again kind of like Pete. He's like just this fantastic producer, just super talented, and just really did a fantastic job. And I like kind of surrounding myself with people that I consider better than me. I think some artists get uncomfortable with that position, but for me, it's all about how to learn from these people. Like I learned so much, from being
Yeah.
surrounded by such talented cats. And then we'll see on the next album. I really like having collaborative guests on each album because
Of
as you can
course.
see, I'm sort of sitting here by myself in the studio. And it's fun to work with people that I respect, like that I'm a fan of, right? So
Oh, of
kind of a
course.
dream come true. So
That's awesome. So you your songwriting, your lyrics, how do you come about that? What inspires your lyrics?
that's a good question, man. And it's kind of like it may be kind of a trite answer, but it's kind of like a little bit of everything. It all comes from my life experience. So I like to write about things like love, death, politics, religion,
Yeah.
friendships, relationships. I wrote a song. There's a song about my kid because that was another thing that happened in between the two albums is I became a father, and
Oh,
that
awesome.
really informed a lot of my
Congrats.
lyrics. Hey, thanks, man. It's funny. The song is called "Child" with an E on the end. I was just very blunt about like like this is my kid song. Everybody has to have a kid song, right?
I have one
Um,
called Alive. I'll share it with you
nice.
later.
I love that. That's great, man. See, I'm not alone, right?
Oh,
So,
of course. Yeah. I love my son.
so, so I tend to write about a lot of those things, but the lyrics, it's funny. I don't know if you've ever experienced this or whatever, but when I go to actually sit down to write lyrics, nothing comes. It's like, it all sounds like Dr. Zeus or whatever. And I'm just like, this is garbage or whatever. But then when
You
I'm
got to
on vacation,
pick out the little pieces that are cool, and then you have to play word game around the rest of it.
yeah, yeah, it's like it can be like putting a puzzle together. But what I've really found as I'm getting older is like when I'm away, when I'm on vacation, I'm in the middle of the ocean on some boat or
Yeah.
I'm on a beach or I'm something and boom, something hits me and it hits hard too. And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's the whole chorus right there." Like
Yeah.
it's like not even having to try. And so I've learned to sort of listen to that voice when something pops in my head.
Of course.
Uh so like there's a song called Idgaf on this album.
Yeah.
And the whole song just came to me on a snorkel tour while I was out on
Oh,
vacation.
how funny. You
So
That's
I'm trying
awesome.
to let that happen more organically and just let the lyrics come rather than force it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Sometimes it's hard to get out what's inside anyways, and it does just have to come out naturally, organically, like you
yeah,
said, because you can't force something that is coming from your soul. Sometimes we just can't translate it at the time. And then life itself puts something in front of us, a dolphin or this or that, which will spark something, and,
yeah. Also
it
being
brings the
away from
song to
here,
life.
being away
You know what I
from this
mean?
area,
Yeah.
like getting out of this
Get out of your
studio,
box.
me all of a sudden makes me want to be here and makes my brain more creative. So like
Yeah.
time away is just as important as time in the studio.
Think out of
Um,
the box. Remember how they say that? You gotta
yeah,
think outside the
yeah,
box.
exactly. Get outside the box. There's
Exactly.
another thing too. I don't know if you've had this frustration around sort of self-expression is like in my heart, like I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. Like I don't have just the right words, but it's sort of angst. Like there's a feeling like it's sort of stressful. And but then it's sort of when I'm away and my subconscious suddenly is able to put it together. And that's so listening
Know
to
what you
those
mean?
voices when it comes out, right?
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
so anyways, yeah, these are just little techniques I've picked up over the
That's
years.
awesome.
They
That's
seem to work
badass.
well. So
So do you work with any kind of other genres at all? Like me personally, whatever comes to heart, I even have 7 tracks that are country. But I mainly write goth rock. I love goth rock, old school. I'm from LA from back in the day and '93 and all that and stuff. So I used to party out there at all the industrial goth rock clubs and loved it. And but then I also have punk influence behind me, a lot of punk influence, and so it's kind of like I'm a mutt for good good music all the way around. I even have some industrial music I wrote. I have not even done yet. I've done nothing with it. So, well, especially since I have surgery.
oh no,
Yeah, I
how are
got.
you gonna give anyone the finger now, man?
I just gave you the finger, but you can't
Yeah,
see
that's a
it.
giant finger, man. No one's
Dude,
gonna miss
it's
that, right? Yeah.
they put a
Oh, dude, I
bar
hope
through
you're okay.
that. I will be. My tendon was torn on one side of my left, right
Oh,
here on the side of my finger, and on my index finger, and so they took some from my arm and put it in my finger, put a couple screws and a bar
okay.
in the middle of my finger going through my knuckles.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
that's the part that I'm freaked out right now. I can't even imagine what it looks like underneath. I'm 16. I gotta get it
Will
taken out,
will
put a
you
cast
be able
on.
to play guitar or piano?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make sure, but I'm gonna train
Okay,
myself.
good. Yeah.
I'm not done. I'm not done writing music, buddy.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, because
I'll
that
share
would be
some
my
stuff with you
concern right
later.
there,
But
right?
yeah, definitely. It's why I love talking with other artists because I share the same passion with you guys when it comes to writing music, and it's definitely a healing process. It's a passion from the heart, and I love it with all my soul. And I can understand the music artists like yourself and who's also a solo artist. Yeah, and that sometimes it can be it's trying. It can be really hard, but at the same time, at the end of the day, we still get it done, and we pour our soul out into a track. And it's the greatest feeling in the world. So I understand where you're getting at.
Yeah.
Is like I said, it's healing, and other people see it too, and they need to hear what you have to say. So don't ever stop what you're doing, because
Hey,
I
thanks,
think
man.
you're just getting better. You get finer with age, like a
Hey,
fine wine.
like I
I
said earlier,
I can't
I
tell
think
you're
it's true.
70,
Yeah. I'm only 45, but still I'm an old timer though.
52,
Um,
buddy.
hey, we're still rocking, man. But you know what the beautiful thing is like kind of like I was saying earlier about just trying to get better all the time. I
Yeah,
think you don't want to sort of become like plateau and not try to better yourself. And so
yeah,
what I'm loving about getting older is I feel more confident. I feel like I'm finally starting to get it. I know that's crazy because I've been in this business for 25 years. And
yeah,
but you know, I think that's also something young producers, musicians, composers need to hear is like you're going to keep getting better and better and better as you go. And you might not peak until you're 50 or whatever.
yeah.
So
Gotcha.
I'm enjoying this ride, and I also enjoy the aspect of like seeing myself get better. It's really fun. But back to your earlier question about if I do other styles of music.
Yeah, other
So
genres.
yeah, before Kisses Kill, I was in a number of bands all through my 20s. I played in country rock bands. I played in like techno bands. I played in jazz bands. I played in basically what I would try to do is find a style of music that I knew nothing about and join that band.
Huh.
And I have to say that having that experience is what really helped me be able to do the job of songwriting for Paw Patrol, Daniel Tiger, all
Yeah.
that stuff. Because I'll tell you one thing in
Keeps you open
animation,
minded, keeps your
yeah,
mind fresh and open minded. Yeah, definitely.
yep. Well, I in animation too, like in as you've seen, you have a kid, man. Like in 30 seconds, it could go from a Mexican hat dance to a heavy metal song to a hip hop song to a silly like Looney Tunes thing. So I have to be able to do all of those styles well. And so part of my actual job is sort of knowing all the different, like as many different genres of music as I can. So I
Good.
do all the different genres. Now, that's for my job, but outside of that, like currently right now, I'm starting to work with an artist out of Nashville named Melody Federer, and we're doing a project called Cherry Blue, and it's kind of like I want to say it's like Beach House. It's like a little bit like chromatics, and it's very like kind of pop oriented, like just totally different than Kisses Kill, but there's still an electronic element to it. And I
Gotcha.
think it's kind of funny, kind of like how Skinny Puppy worked on Call Me Maybe. Did you know
Okay.
that, by the way?
No, no, I did
Little
not know
trivia.
that.
You know that big song, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
I've seen Skate Puppy
so
twice too. I love him.
yeah. So Kevin Ogilvy worked on uh or was it Dave Ogilvy? I can't remember. The Ogilvy, one of the Ogilvies. He worked on
Ogre,
Call
you
Me
talking about?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
about Ogre, singer, lead singer.
I don't think it was him. I think it was the other guy. It was Dave
Oh,
Rave Ogilvy, maybe. But man, it could have been. You know what? Let's Google it. Hang on, while I've got you here. Call
yeah.
me
Huh.
maybe Skinny Puppy. I want to get this right so that yeah, it was David Ogilvy. See,
Oh,
I got them
David.
mixed
Yeah,
up.
David. Yep,
Got them,
David. I
yeah.
got you now.
But the fact that he had that industrial
He
background
passed
and that
away, by the
electronic
way.
music.
I believe.
Oh,
Didn't
really?
he? Didn't he pass
You know
away? I
what?
thought. I
We're
thought.
gonna get to the bottom of this one
Let's get to the
too.
bottom of this.
No,
Yeah.
see,
Let's fact
there's
check.
no excuse for this in this age, right?
I thought he passed.
It looks like he's still alive, my friend.
Okay. Sorry, David. Much love to you.
And sorry, David, I called you Kevin. So, like, but
Hey,
isn't Google amazing? We can like
just
find
like
all this
that.
stuff out. So, but my point was though that he worked on that pop song, and his
Yeah.
industrial and electronic background, I think,
Yeah.
really informed that song and really made it slamming, right? Like, so there's part of my industrial background that is working really well in sort of working on modern pop music, and
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm really enjoying that. It's really fun. So yeah, so I'm sort of working on that project now, and uh, which is just a blessing as well. So,
Awesome. Okay, I gotta ask: Is you said that you also write about politics? I don't want to get into politics at all
yep.
because that just ruins lives, you know. But uh, it says left is right. Is that what that song is about? Is it a politics song?
Well, you know what? Okay, so here's the thing. I like to have multiple meanings for all my songs. I like to have things mean maybe two or three different things.
Yeah, gotcha.
And
That's
I
good.
like it when listeners can take different meanings or put their
Yeah,
own meaning into it.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I don't like to say too much bluntly, even though I said earlier I wrote a song about my kid. But like I don't like to say too much about what the songs are actually about. So it can be interpreted that way.
Yeah,
In the lyrics, it was really sort of about the positive and negative things in us sort of canceling each other out, and sort of whatever is left behind is right. It's who we are, right? So
gotcha.
there's
I
sort of
gotcha.
that. But it also sort of has this third meaning of like up up is down, left is right. Like in the world that we live in right
Yeah,
now, it's sort of hard to see which way. Or it could also mean, bluntly, like, liberals is the right way, or whatever.
yeah. Well,
Or
there's a lot of that, but the type of politics in industrial, it seems like.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, just it's also in the punk scene also as well. A lot of the young
Oh,
kids don't
definitely.
even know what they're really screaming about sometimes, and they're still just screaming about it. And it shouldn't be just one way. I don't feel. If you're gonna be against the government, it should be against the fucking government right away, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
You know, yeah,
Yeah.
because both sides could be wrong. You know, that's so and I don't know. It's just such a touchy subject. It's just like religion. You know, it's such
Yep.
a personal thing that
That's why I
that I
write
think
about it, man.
people should. Yeah, definitely. I get you. That's what's up,
Um,
man. Yeah, get
there
it
was
off your
a
chest.
lot of this latest album, like not all of it, because it was obviously I did it over 10 years. And by
Yeah,
the way, that's a goal for the next album, is to not take 10 years. Like the reason it took so long is because of my day job. Like it just
I
sucks
get
up
you.
all my time. The last thing I want to do at the end of the day after I've been working on Paw Patrol all day is just work on more music, right?
Yeah, of
So
course.
my next goal is to take like maybe 2 years and just bang something out, right? But
Hell yeah.
I was gonna say a big chunk of this album really was inspired by my time during the pandemic. And
Okay.
it wasn't just all the depression and the losing life experiences and being cut off from family and friends. It was a lot of what was going on in politics. I live in Seattle. We had riots here.
Oh,
We had a
you're in
lot of
Seattle. Okay, I
unrest.
got you.
Okay, we had
My
a
bad.
lot of unrest.
I said California at
So
the beginning. I for some reason I
that's
got you
okay.
mixed up.
Same deal. We're in the same time zone. Um,
Blah,
maybe not quite as sunny here, but everyone's equally as cool, right? So,
of course.
but there was a lot of political unrest and civil unrest here. So also the song "Progress" was sort of thinking about that. I remember my music was sort of my personal therapy to get me through the stress of the election that was happening during the pandemic. There's
Yeah.
a lot of questions, and there's a lot of that unrest now, right? There's a lot of sort of like like fear of the unknown, fear of the future, like what's going to happen
Yep.
next.
Of
Um,
course.
so, um, so a lot of those songs are sort of reflections of that. I don't like to just overtly state my political opinions. I prefer to sort of
Yeah.
make something that's a little more esoteric and then have people breathe their interpretation into it.
Yeah.
But all of this
Yeah. Exactly.
was therapy
That's
for
the
me,
best way of doing
basically.
it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the best way of doing it. Keeping it open that people
yeah,
can interpret it themselves.
yeah,
Because yeah, yeah, I like that a lot better because no matter what because I've always had this belief about that same way with punk rock, that you're supposed to take a stance against government. It was like that right when the Dead Kennedys started here, and and over in the UK, it was Sex Pistols doing what they did against the government. And it was never just one sided. It's just right there in the middle. We're against you now. Fuck off.
yeah,
Leave us
yeah, yeah,
alone. Basically, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
and so I kind of miss that old school attitude.
yeah,
I hate the finger pointing, as neither side can be right. I mean, it's just
yeah.
it's just a matter of us having
So,
our unity and standing up together, and against
yeah,
this fucking system, against the system that's trying to
yeah,
drag us down really bad. It destroyed the
yeah,
music scene and all kinds of stuff. They're turning us into a third world country, man. And it's sad.
yeah.
No disrespect to the third world countries. I love you guys out there, and I wish the best for them. But seriously, we're turning into the same. So,
Well,
yeah.
one thing I've noticed is, like, I might have my own personal political leanings or my own
Yeah.
personal opinions about religion. But I never try to attack people in any way. I try to attack ideas,
Yeah.
and because here's my thing. I absolutely adore people I know are on the other end of the spectrum from me. Like I know tons of people that have the opposite viewpoints I do,
Yeah.
and they're
Me
lovely
too.
people. They're amazing people.
Me too.
So,
I would
so I
hate to
might be
lose their
writing a
friendship.
song to them. Yeah, but I might be writing the song to them in a way to help maybe change their mind or from that perspective, right? More of an
Yeah.
argument rather than an attack. I
Mhm.
also have to be very careful what I do because I'm in children's television, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's sort of nice because it's given me a guardrail to not just be coming out the gate like fuck you, fuck this, like all that stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
so I have to be a little more refined, which I appreciate that, right? That being said, I did write a song called I Don't Give a Fuck on this album, right? Which is
Yeah.
pretty blunt.
Yeah. And
Um,
it's the
yeah,
yeah. I know
IDGAF,
it's
yeah.
the letters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tell you,
And also, by the
I've been
way,
doing
funny,
homework. I told you, buddy.
yeah, thanks,
I've been
pal.
listening to your
Thanks.
stuff.
So yeah, so I still, sometimes it is good to sort of just be blunt, like that's sort of the
Yeah.
angle. But what was interesting was this seems to happen on every album I do is IDGAF is my least favorite song.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with how it turned out at all. Like I think there's a good song in there, but I think it could have been produced better. I was fighting it the whole way right till the end, and it is the clear winner. It seems to be everyone else's favorite one.
Oh,
Like
buddy.
and what I keep learning, right, as an artist, and I think this is good advice for any musician or producer is I don't know what people want. Nobody knows what they want. You can never guess what people are going to want, you know?
Exactly.
You might think you know what they're going to like, but almost every time it ends up being I would never have guessed. Like it's almost
Oh,
always
funny.
my least favorite material that people seem to love. So,
Huh, that's crazy. Huh. So, what would you like to say to the fans that you have out there right now?
well, first of all, I'd be shocked if I have any fans. I really appreciate anybody that would consider themselves a fan. And I definitely have appreciated everyone's reactions to this album and all the support. Like, you know what's interesting? The industrial and the metal communities, and I'm kind of a bit of both, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the middle. Both communities are so supportive and so positive. Everyone seems to be just in a great mood all the time and just positive and supportive. And so, which I think is hilarious because they're both two of the darkest music scenes, right? So you think everyone's just in this negative headspace. But I want to thank all of them, all the DJs, the folks like yourself, for just giving me a voice, and allowing me this opportunity to
Yep.
chit chat and be
You always
heard.
have a home here, buddy.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you. And also thanks for dealing with my crazy rescheduling and all that stuff because like I
It
appreciate
happens,
you,
man.
what you do for artists and everything, man. Like I appreciate you rolling with my chaos, man. It's I won't forget that.
Right on.
So
Good, good.
yeah,
So
so thanks to all the
there's a
listeners
shirt
and
on the way
supporters.
then, huh? For my pain and suffering.
Yeah, absolutely. Just send me your
I
address.
I got TV on my shirt right now.
Nice. That's a beauty, huh?
Yeah, they're a good
Nice.
band, man. They're good people.
Yeah.
Hey, so no, I really do appreciate your. You have a really nice passion, dude. A really, actually, a very sparky freaking attitude about all this, and it's actually really refreshing. And I
Nice, man.
didn't know
Thank you. I
how this was
appreciate
gonna
that.
be. I mean, I know your kindness is actually a little bit really over the top because it's really nice. It reminds me of Blues Clue almost, or
Hey,
something.
buddy, that's it.
You
That's it.
know,
Hey, listen, man, you know what?
it's
Here's
just
the
you have a
thing.
great positive attitude. It's wonderful. And
Well, this is where I'm so thankful that I work on these shows. So Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood is the sequel to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And
love it.
so it basically, I know this sounds cheesy and stuff, but I feel like I'm part of Fred Rogers' legacy and that I need to sort of represent him as best I can in the world. And I know that's
Oh
super
yeah.
cheesy, man, but
No,
this is the byproduct and why I feel so fortunate to work on these shows because it kind of informs a little bit of my personality. And I just appreciate you saying that so much because I think this music industry needs more positivity, more
yeah,
kindness, more stuff like this,
we
man. So
do.
I appreciate
Hell yeah.
you, man.
That's what this is all about. This whole show is trying to get the underground music scene unified, man. Remember back in the day, when Public Enemy would play with Susie and the Banshees, and
Yeah,
stuff.
dude.
You know what? I mean, it's
I
just
love
like,
it.
crazy, crazy things they did back in the day. Like it was also Ice Cube, no, Ice T with freaking Sisters of Mercy. And Public Enemy was with it's with Sisters of Mercy, with Susie the Banshees. And it's like, oh my gosh, that happened all the time back in the day. Like it was,
Yeah.
it now it seemed like it died for a while, and
It,
everybody's just all self-centered, they're the Taylor Swift in it, you know what I mean? It's all
yeah.
about themselves and getting them, they may have like 30 people in the band, playing live, and they'll say we're still the best three-piece band ever. Okay, who was that? That was Green Day that said that live. I mean, they said that right after one of the shows, and they had like 7 people up on the stage with them. It's like, what are you talking about? Give the respect to everybody. Show that love to everybody. We're all just trying to do our part. You do your
Everyone
part
knows
on
the
your
best three
shows
piece ever is
and on the,
Primus. Like, come
and
on.
writing great music. You do your part for the scene. I'm trying to do mine as well. We just have
Yeah.
our own little parts that we do, and hopefully someday I'll be writing music right there with you. And I got
Yeah,
tons
man.
of
We should
industrial
collaborate on
tracks that
something.
I probably could use some help with. So and I
Hey, I'm always
want to
down
get
for
that
that,
stuff
man.
after this comes off in December at the
Yeah.
end of it.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm gonna
Dude, keep
start
me
cracking
posted.
out my
I'm
guitar.
always I'm always down for collaborating. Keep me posted. But just to tack on to what you're saying too, I think, I've noticed, especially in the last, I mean, there's the pandemic in there, but even the
Oh,
few years leading up to the pandemic, just a real, not just in the music business, right? But just a real fracturing in society as a whole.
yeah.
And I think a return to kindness and a return to community is what we need. And again, I don't want to sound all like
Hmm.
cheesy or whatever.
It's not.
By the way, I love all my screens shut off. That's how I know that we've been on for a good chunk of time. Is like all the way. I wanted to have the like cool background going or whatever, which was good for most of it. Now it's all shut off, and I got the like auto like thing going. That's great.
That's awesome.
Anyways, yeah, return to kindness and community. It goes a long way, right? And we can
It
write
does.
angry music, right? You don't have to be a murderer to write about murder, right? You don't have to be angry to write about anger, right?
No.
In fact, I think you can be more creative and have better creative output if you're in a good place in your heart and in physically, mentally,
Huh.
spiritually. Like, I think that's the key to success as an
It
artist,
is.
right? So I'm loving all the
Wow.
positive vibes, dude. This is great.
It
I
is.
love it.
This is wonderful. I feel like
Yeah,
I'm at
man.
church almost, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
it's that good. I mean, all I can say is glory to God. It was really
Yeah.
because I mean, I'm grateful for the talents that I've been given. I love to play
The
piano,
gift.
drums, piano and guitar and bass and love to write music. It's like I said, a passion. I have like 80 tracks written, but with guitar chords and all that, but and lyrics. Just gotta do it.
Talent is a
And
gift,
this
man.
year, I want to put out at least a couple things.
Nice.
An EP for my goth rock and probably a couple other EPs, an industrial one and a punk rock one. So we'll see though.
So,
Oh,
so I
buddy,
see, I see we're almost out of time, but before we go, just on this note,
yeah, yeah.
there was a time one time when I was going to quit my career. I had hit rock bottom. I was very, very depressed, and I was out at a bar, and a guy I
Hmm.
kind of knew, sort of a friend, sort of an acquaintance, he could tell I was down, and he said, "What's wrong?" And I told him, "Man, I want to quit music. I'm so depressed. All this stuff." And he was like, "Listen, man, and this is the best advice I've ever gotten. Okay." And so I'm just sharing it with you and your
Hell
viewers.
yeah.
Is if you have talent, right, that's a gift, okay, that you've been given. You've been blessed with this gift, and there
Yeah,
are people that would kill to have that gift. Okay. So it's
yeah,
your responsibility to do something with it. Whatever that looks like, it doesn't matter. Just do something with it. Just remember that there are people that would kill to be able to play guitar like you or play this or do that or whatever it
yeah.
is, right? Like be a songwriter, have a studio, right? So never forget that and use your gift. And this guy literally saved my career. Like I was ready to quit and I'm like,
It's awesome.
I have to do something with this gift. So there you go. Ending on a nice little
Hell yeah,
positive
man.
note.
More rock. Let's talk here on the Rooster Show. We have James, and I appreciate you, James, and I appreciate your music. And I can't wait for your new project. We'll have you come back in 2025 when you have some new stuff out. How
I
about
can't
that?
wait,
And
man.
you can come on and discuss it all in detail and maybe even have a guest or something. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out. All
great,
right.
man.
Hey, thank
That's
you so
fantastic.
much. I appreciate
Hey, thank
this.
you, man. Thanks for this opportunity, man. I appreciate you.
Hell yeah. Much love to you. And can't wait to see about your future, like I said already. But yeah, you take care of yourself and
You too,
so
man.
happy
Thanks.
for your career. Good job for you, man. I'm proud of you.
Hey, thanks, pal. I appreciate it.
Take care.